when you see Jimmy do some of the high-level things that he does, but he also seems to make some decisions that are very, very questionable that lead to interceptions and potential game-changing situations.
I think that's part of football. You get used to that stuff. What's more frustrating to me is when the guy can't make any plays and the guy can't throw it at all, and you just sit there and you're beating your head against the wall for 3.5 hours. So it's nice when they do make a lot of plays and do some good stuff, but some bad plays do come with that.
Kyle Shanahan, 49ers coach, talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and some of the interceptions he's thrown this year. He's had some good moments. He's had some bad moments. And, Chris, that leads into the first topic for today's What's More Likely. What is more likely? Jimmy Garoppolo throws a bad interception that costs the 49ers the game, or Jimmy G throws a game-winning touchdown pass to deliver their 10th win Sunday night, NBC versus the Packers.
I'm going to go with number 2 on that one. First off, hey, let's not forget, even though it hasn't been pretty and perfect, he did drive them down to tie the game against the Seattle Seahawks to send it in overtime. He did drive them down last week, even though, hey, he might have put them in these holes. I get it. He did drive them down and throw the game-winning touchdown pass late in the fourth quarter against the Cardinals. And I just picked door number 2 for throwing a game-winning TD pass, too. It's just the Packers' defense is not good. It's 28th in football. It's 28th in football. They can't stop the run. You and me might be able to run for 100 yards against the Packers, which is just going to lead to great looks in the pass game for Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's where, I think the Packers are not in a good spot for this matchup in general. This will have to be an Aaron Rodgers. He has to pull 3 rabbits out of his butt to win this game, I think.
And I think the 49ers understand the importance of getting this win because they go on the road for a couple of tough ones after that, at Baltimore and at New Orleans. You lose this one, not quite the send-off that you want for games that may be even more difficult. Now, the Packers have had 2 weeks to get ready, so
yeah, that helps.
We'll see what Matt LaFleur can do.
Yep, that's right. And Mike Pettin worked with Kyle Shanahan with the Cleveland Browns. Of course, LaFleur came from Kyle Shanahan, so there is a lot of, familiarity here, but pick one. What are you going to pick, 1 or 2 there?
I'm going to pick one. We've seen the propensity from Jimmy Garoppolo to make those bad throws, and he got lucky on that Monday night against the Seahawks when guys were dropping interceptions. I just think with the game on the line, if we get to that point, game on the line, and he's got to make a throw, I trust Aaron Rodgers a lot more than I trust him. So I think he's going to throw that if it comes down to it, and we are very narrow in our choices with what's more likely.
Yes, we are.
I say interception to lose the game versus touchdown to win the game.
Okay, I like it. That's good.
Especially because he's got a lot of guys banged up. Who's going to catch that pass?
That is very fair.
George Kittle may not play.
Right.
Deebo Samuel may not play. Emmanuel Sanders may not play. They may have to dust off Marquise Goodwin.
No, I know. D Ford's not 100%. They got some issues here to where, there's a little, crack in the armor for Green Bay to come in and steal one if they have a right game plan and Rodgers can get on fire and do those type of things.
Next topic, what's more likely? The Eagles' defense has turned a corner, or they were propped up by a struggling New England offense.
I'm going with 1 there. I think the Eagles' defense has turned the corner. I think we saw them get healthy the last few weeks, especially in the secondary. And when they have a healthy Ronald Darby, Avonte Maddox, and Jalen Mills, I forgot for a second there, those 3, Fletcher Cox looks like he's 100% and back to his disruptive self. I think this is a defense that's really quality. They do some creative things on the back end, and I think you'll see them play some dominant football from here on out. I think the big thing really for the Eagles is the offense going to show up. Can they make enough plays and do things like that to help them win games against a team like the Seattle Seahawks this weekend?
Yeah, and the offense has been the weaker side of the ball this year, weaker than expected, and injuries have affected the offense this year, much in the way that injuries affected the defense last year for the Eagles. And Doug Peterson, the coach of the Eagles, talked about this yesterday. They have this history they can draw on of digging their way out of messes.
Right.
Last year they were 4-6. Not 5-5, but 4-6, and they found a way to the playoffs, winning 5 of their last 6. This year, they're a game ahead of where they were. They're in distance where they can pick off the Cowboys. They need this one, though.
Yes,
they
do.
Can't afford to lose this one to the Seahawks if they want to try to stay close to the Cowboys. Now, look, the Cowboys likely going to lose in New England, so they would still be a game back even if they lose. But this is an opportunity to force a tie, which is going to point toward that Week 16 rematch between the Cowboys and the Eagles. But I think the defense has turned a corner. look, New England is still New England. Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. I understand the offense isn't what it's been in past years, but I think it builds some confidence for the defense, even though they lost the game, and that should help them against Russell Wilson.
Yep.
All right, next topic. What's more likely? Deshaun Watson jumps back into the MVP conversation, or he fades out of it down the stretch?
Yeah, this is a tough one because he is an MVP talent. I just don't know how good their team is right now. And I think right now when I sit here and look at it, I think Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson have separated themselves from the rest of football in this conversation. And then in that next group, you have Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. Right? Maybe Christian McCaffrey is just hanging on the edge, but that seems to be kind of dying out too. So I think I'm going to go with he fades out down the stretch just because I don't know if they're a good enough football team in general to stay relevant in that MVP conversation. And I think stats and big games will be hard to come by as well.
Yeah, and I think it begins tonight.
Yeah.
When they're going to have their hands full against the Colts. And look, Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback,
he is.
But you have to have help around you. And I just don't think, as you've said, he's got the kind of help around him that other great young quarterbacks have, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's Lamar Jackson, any of the great young quarterbacks out there. He's more like in a Kyler Murray type of a situation. But Watson is good enough to get those extra wins that Murray in time will be able to get on his own. Watson is good for, 3-4 wins
Definitely.
by himself every year? But that's not enough to turn a team that otherwise has the cupboard bare into a championship contender. And what it does is, if you're not going to make it to the playoffs or you're going to make it as a wild card, it's going to drag down an MVP candidacy, and it's going to make it hard for him to be in the conversation.
That's how I see it. Exactly right. That's kind of where I'm with you. I think he'll do plenty of great things down the stretch, but they're going to lose some games, and we're going to go, how did they lose that, or why did they lose that? And, you hit it. They're just not – they need Will Fuller to be 100% healthy. They need those guys to help him out. And, of course, we said it earlier, their defense is just not very good this year, and that's a big problem for them.
The big game on Sunday afternoon, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, kickoff from Foxborough, the Cowboys at the Patriots. What's more likely? Bill Belichick tries to take away Dak Prescott, or Belichick game plans to stop Ezekiel Elliott?
I think it's all about Dak Prescott right now. I do. Dallas offense is a pass offense. This is Dak Prescott's team. You've heard me say, and I will continue to say it, Ezekiel Elliott's been underwhelming this year. I'd be concerned. I really would be. It's just not as explosive as it once was. He doesn't do special things. They kind of put Tony Pollard in the game a little bit more last week too, and got him touches, and he brings some juice to the offense when he gets the ball in his hands. So yeah, I'm going to go with takes away Dak Prescott, because right now that's what Dallas is. They're about big chunks in the passing game. It's Cooper downfield, it's Gallup downfield, it's Randall Cobb down the middle, and then a little tight end and bootleg play action stuff, all of that too to go with it. So I think Bill Belichick will be more concerned with that than Ezekiel Elliott in the run game.
Kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl 25 game plan when Belichick was defensive coordinator of the Giants. Remember, he had to sell to that Giants defense. If Thurman Thomas has over 100 rushing yards, we'll win the game.
Right.
And they thought he was nuts when he trotted that out there. Now, that was more about taking the K-gun offense out of play and keeping it from hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what the Cowboys offense is becoming. It's becoming a passing offense. You've got a quarterback who's on pace for 5,100 passing yards.
He's on fire. You're right. You're exactly right. Hey, I'll say this much too. I will not be shocked if Dallas went up to New England and won this game this week. They're a little desperate. They pose some problems for the New England Patriots. They do. A little bit like Baltimore this way, Mike, where of course, we know Dallas has these weapons on the outside, and Prescott's on fire throwing the ball, and they're a creative offense with Kellen Moore and the things he's doing. But the other thing is, they don't have a lot of big people in New England as far as defensive tackles. It's Lawrence Guy and Danny Shelton. And then a bunch of linebackers behind it. They mix and match and do all these different things behind it where the Dallas can pose some problems with their offensive line if it can have a good day and a good game plan, to where Bill might be in a bind of going, oh, man, I'm worried about this pass game, but we are getting overpowered a little bit up front. You know, some of my linebackers and people like that can't hold up against these big, hulking offensive linemen the Cowboys have. So that's where I find it interesting. And, of course, we know New England's offense is not great right now. And Dallas's defense is still talented and has a front four that I think could be a pain in the butt for the New England Patriots. So I'm going to pick the Patriots to win, but it's one of those where I think it will go down to late in the fourth quarter and be very close.
It would be a stunner if the Cowboys pulled it off, in part because the perception/reality for the Cowboys this year is when they get into those big games, they don't win them.
Yeah,
they win the games they're supposed to win, except when they play the Jets, but they otherwise can't deliver in the games that are close, tough matchups, and they need to bust through that if they want to be as good as they're supposed to be this year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.